Good evening, and thank you guys so much for joining us for this Climb Boardroom event. Welcome to the Climb. If you're not familiar with our organization, the Climb is a 501c3 organization that is committed to increasing the number of women of color in leadership and managerial positions. And every other month, we have events like this called our boardroom events, and that's when we get together. Women of like mind. I'll say that. You don't have to be a member to join in, but we cover topics that you typically don't hear about in your regular leadership training. And so today we're doing just that. So one of the things that I know a lot of us struggle with is we're high achievers. We work really hard. And because we're always working really hard to get the job done, we often overlook ourselves. And then when it's time for performance or recognition, we're often scrambling to figure out all the things that we've done and how you put that together and how you advocate for yourself. And so today we have a special guest and a member of, I will call now a member of the Climb Tribe, that's going to kind of break down some of the things of how we're going to get our receipts together and how we're going to get ready or be ready to put our best foot forward when it comes to performance and recognition. So I would like to introduce Sheryl Whitaker, and I'm going to read her bio. Welcome, Sheryl.
Thank you. Happy
So
to be
Sheryl,
here.
yes, woo, I love it. So Sheryl is a certified executive coach and leadership strategist with over 35 years of experience in insurance, financial services, and Fortune 500 companies. She's held senior leadership roles at State Farm, AIG, USAA. Well, she has led large-scale learning, transformations, digital innovations, and leadership development initiatives that strengthen the workforce capability and engagement across global enterprises. As the founder and CEO of the Eden Anthony Elite Talent Solutions, LLC, she helps leaders refine their leadership brand, expand their influence, and drive strategic talent initiatives with clarity and purpose. I love clarity and purpose. She's currently writing her first
Me too.
book. Round of applause for that. I love it. Centered on joy as a leadership strategy, a powerful tool for staying whole, present, and impactful in the face of success and strain. Oh, I love it. I cannot wait to read your book. I cannot wait.
Me too.
I know. A recognized thought leader, she has served on multiple advisory councils, including the TEDx South Lake Executive Advisory Board, contributing her expertise to future-ready leadership and talent development strategies. She holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Marketing from Pennsylvania State University and an MBA from Downing College. She's passionate about what she calls heart-centered leadership, Sheryl is a sought-after speaker dedicated to helping leaders unlock their potential, lead with confidence, and thrive in an ever-evolving workplace. Her love for watercolor painting, I love that. Her leadership style, thoughtful, creative, and deeply connected to human experience. Frequent traveler, Sheryl draws from her Trinidad and Tobago roots to bring rich cultural lenses to her work, reinforcing her belief that powerful leadership is both deeply personal and universally human. Welcome, Sheryl. I'm going to turn it over to you. I love your
Wow,
bio,
wow,
by the
wow.
way.
Oh,
I
thank
love your
you.
bio.
Thank you. And you read the whole thing, Felicia. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you and Waveney and the rest of the Klein board for having me here and everyone who is on Zoom today. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And that's because it's something that I struggled with a lot when I was climbing my way to various levels of leadership and responsibility along my very long career. When you hear that 30 something years, it's like, oh goodness gracious, who are we talking about here? So I'm really, really happy to be here. And you might be wondering a little bit about what are we talking about when we say receipts and receipts ready? Don't worry, we're gonna grab all that information as we move forward. So I'm gonna share my screen. And hopefully you guys can see it. Everything is good. Where's everybody from? If you want to just drop in the chat, say hello, and just let me know where you are from. and how hot it is or cool where you are, because it hit 96 here in New Jersey today. I'm in New Jersey, Plainfield, New Jersey. Yes, Millington, Susie, I know it's hot where you are. You're not that far from me. Soon to is about 20 minutes or so. San Antonio, thanks, Wave. Oh, Boston, 93. Ooh, 103. Same, we hit 99 yesterday. So, anyone else want to share? All right, so I'm gonna, full disclosure, guys, my sister is on, and also she's my business partner, Sharon Diaz, and she's in Trinidad and Tobago. Sharon, how hot is it? 80? Oh, get out of here.
It's rain. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all. It's 80 degree. It's rainy season now. So that's why
Oh,
it's
that's true.
typically very, very hot, but we're blessed on these kind of cool nights.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad it's nice. Kimberly, hi, Kimberly. Oh, DC cooled down. Yeah, we need some rain. I know. I'm jealous too. I'm jealous too. Well, ladies, again, thank you for being here. I have been super passionate about this topic, as I said before, because we've all been in this place where you're just trying to find yourself as you're moving up and up into different levels of leadership and trying to just figure out how you fit in and your work, the impact of your work. How do you go about sharing that in a way that still feels authentic to you and doesn't feel like you are too loud, too much, all the twos that we hear about as women? And it's important. We are doing all the work, but I have to tell you, my friends, we must do a better job of actually documenting the impact of that work. That's what makes the difference. That's what makes a difference. And so we're going to dig deep into the receipts today, not in a petty New York City housewives kind of way, but more so in a powerful way. And I want to talk about being receipt ready in a way that you may not have heard about it before. And I want you to be able to explore who you are throughout this process. So before we get started, I always love to look, it's almost 6:15 in the Eastern time zone. So you've all had full days. So I want everyone to just take a moment, just settle into your chair, into your seats a little bit. And let's do some grounding so that we can be really, really present in here. So I want everyone to just take a deep breath in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Do it one more time. Breathe in through your nose. And this time when you breathe out, if you're comfortable, I'd like you to close your eyes and just listen to the soothing sound of my voice. Okay. Repeat quietly in your mind. Today is a great day. As you breathe slowly and deeply, imagine a vibrant yellow light flowing into your body with every breath you take. This yellow light is charged with a powerful positive energy. So with every breath you take, your body will become naturally energized. You may feel a slight tingling as this positive yellow energy spreads throughout your entire body, recharging every cell and every part of you. As your life force is recharged with its positive, vibrant energy, you feel simple pleasure in just being alive. You begin to look forward to what remains of this great day. I want you to embrace this feeling. Give yourself permission to feel great about yourself. Now quietly repeat in your mind, I am energized. I am healthy. I feel great. I love my life. I love who I am. I am confident. I am loved. I am happy. I feel great about myself. I am safe and I feel safe. Today, everything is fun and easy. Today, wonderful things happen to me. I'm allowing myself to enjoy this day. Today is a beautiful day. Now gently stretch your back and your arms, wiggle your toes, listen to the sounds that are around you. Know that when you open your eyes, you will be wide awake, feeling energized and ready for whatever comes your way. You can open your eyes and smile. How did that feel? Felt good?
Felt
Yes,
good.
Good?
I agree. I really needed that. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Sometimes you really, really do just need an opportunity to just like ground yourself and just be present, especially how busy we all are. We don't take, usually it's the times when we need to be silent with ourselves or just ground ourselves a little bit. We feel like we don't have any time to. And so I appreciate everybody indulging me with that today. Okay, so now if I can get my slide to move. All right, so let's talk about why this matters. I've been posting about this. Felicia, you have been. We've been having conversations about it. Why does this matter? This thing about being receipt ready. Have you ever been in a place where someone came to you at work and said, "Oh wow, Sheryl, I had no idea that you did that." "Oh, really? You have that skill?" "I didn't know." "So weird. How did I not know?" If that's ever happened to you, just put in the chat, yes, if that's ever happened to you. If that's happened to you, just know that you've been too quiet. That means that as a leader, as a force, as a professional, and whatever it is that you do, been too quiet. And so what we're going to talk about and explore today is that the silence ends today. The silence ends now. And it's important because as women, we are doing a lot of work. I mentioned this before, we're doing a lot of work, but we're not documenting the impact of the work. So you can document all day long, but if you're not actually spending the time and thinking through and reflecting on how what you do makes a difference, makes an impact, then it's just words on a page that's just being checked off. So it's not enough to collect the receipts. It's enough to make sure that those receipts have meaning. And we're going to talk about that today. There are lots of hidden contributions. We are building, we are fixing, we are mentoring, we're doing all of those things. But many times, what we're doing is invisible. And it's invisible, it's very visible to us, but it's not visible to those who need to know about it. And it's a struggle. It can be at times for us to bring ourselves there. We're going to deal with that today. But those contributions are hidden and only visible to us until we actually articulate it and say something. And there's a cost to that. I put down the slide, I think I put down, it costs us everything. It costs you that promotion. It costs you that stretch assignment. It costs you that, the raise that you're looking for. These days, when leaders are calibrating and figuring out who's getting what bonus and all that good stuff, you want your leader to be able to go into a room and talk about, hey, you know what? Stephanie is doing this, that, and the other thing. Let me tell you what Stephanie is doing. But you make sure that you give them an opportunity to do that. If not, it will cost you everything. So we're going to replace all that with a new narrative. Stop talking about those limiting beliefs and believing those limiting beliefs. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we'll have some great takeaways. My wish, my desire today is for everyone to leave this call with some tools and tips that you can use. But I want you to walk away with this like swagger, this like badass feeling now that, hey, I can walk through any wall. And if I walk through that wall, damn sure I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you how I did it. I'm going to tell you why it's important. Who's with me? Yes. Everyone's like, woohoo, with you. Okay, good, 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 good. All right. So here's one of the things when I talk about this with some of my own clients, I'm like, but they know. They know. No, they don't know. Don't assume they know. Okay. The truth is that even the best managers out there, the best bosses, let's say, they're busy, right? And so they, more often than not, don't know what you do. They don't know what you really do at work. I'm not saying that, okay, hey, I'm the head of talent development. Okay. That was my prior job I had, right? My boss at the time, he knew what I did. I led enterprise learning, but he didn't know what I did. If he had to sit down, if his life depended upon it, he wouldn't be able to say off the top of his head, Sheryl does bum, 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 bum. That's an example. Okay. So I don't want us to make the assumption, hey, my boss knows exactly what it is I'm doing. Even good bosses who care could slip in this area. Even when they see your work, they may not know the effort behind it. And that's the thing, especially if you are really good at your job. If you're really, really great at your job, you make it look easy. You make it look really, really easy. And when that happens, when that happens, they just assume, well, that's just Felicia being Felicia. Get it done, girl. And like the secret sauce goes out of it, right? They don't understand the effort. So when you are gathering those receipts and you're opening your mouth wide and you're sharing your story, then you need to be able to articulate that there's a lot of effort that went into this work that I'm doing. Really important. So you can't just wait and hope. Don't wait until review time. That's what happens a lot of times. I've seen this in my experience. Everyone's like, what are you doing? Well, I'm getting all my stuff together. I'm going back on my calendar and taking a look at everything I've done. And I'm going to write it up and it's going to go into the system and look how great I am. And then, oh my gosh, going back to like, why is it important? Then you have a laundry list of all these things that you've done, but it's all activity, no impact. Right? But don't wait until review time in order to do what you need to do. You've got to make sure that you're doing it all along. Be clear about our work, talk about the impact, and that means having regular one-on-ones with your leader. Now, in my experience, like I know for me, when I was in corporate, I made sure all the time that I had my one-on-ones regularly scheduled with my team. And if I had to cancel it, it was back on the calendar for another time. It was always rescheduled, never really canceled. But there are leaders out there who are like, hey, you know what? If you need me, you know where to find me. Put some time on my calendar. If you report to someone who does not schedule regular one-on-ones with you, then step forward and ask for it. Doesn't matter if it's weekly, bi-weekly, whatever. Just make sure it's something regular that you can get that FaceTime or whatever Zoom time if you're remote, and you are sharing on a regular basis what it is that you are doing. That is really important. And if you are a leader, do your folks a favor, those who are in your care, and do the same for them. Right? So I with my team, I would share the things I had going on, my wins, and then they would share on team calls and on one-on-ones their wins. And we were always like in step. And if anything just felt out of step, we just had an opportunity to like talk about it and make it real so that we all knew what was going on at the same time. And it's absolutely definitely was my favorite part of all my one-on-ones. This last point is really important. This is not about ego. This is about the truth. Put that to the side. You guys are leaders. You are leaders. And leaders speak their truth. All the time. All the time. Let me know. You can come off. I want to make this participative. Tell me like, what's like feeling stuck for you here? Does this make sense? Is this coming through? Is this kind of like, yeah, I know about this already. What are you gonna show me next? Talk to me.
I agree with everything you shared, Cheryl.
Yes.
Especially with the one-on-ones. It's not just providing updates, it's making sure that there's alignment. It's making sure you understand what the goals are. It's understanding that you're hitting the key objectives and being
Yeah.
able to show your value to the leader and the organization. And then also, I love the last point that leadership is about doing the hardest things, which is telling the truth, showing your work, showing your value. And I think I'm even guilty of this. Like, I'm very quiet about it and I don't publicly
Mm,
share my achievements, which
yeah.
I'm making a note for myself moving forward. Like, how do I continue to advocate for myself and what is right for me, whether it's a project, assignment, a promotion, or even just like negotiating a bonus or a salary, like being very comfortable with it.
Yes. Yes, thank you. We're done. We can go now.
Bye everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you so much for sharing, Seema. Sharon, I saw you come off mute.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I worked in a job for a number of years where I put my 150%, 200% into that job. I never really I worked for the CEO and I never really forced my way into his office throughout those years because we worked so closely to each other and we didn't have those one-on-ones. And
Mm-hmm.
in the end, I realized that that was one regret I had when I decided to leave the organization that I actually accepted accountability for, which was not putting myself in front of him as much as I could have. But also now in the job I'm in now, I came in with a whole different belief that it was going to take me to a new level, and I wasn't going to do that. As women, I don't think we're the best at pumping ourselves up. And
Yeah.
I'm blessed now that I have a boss who is very much so, oh no, you didn't pump yourself up enough. You need to rewrite that, or come at me. And it's something that we need to practice. And the only way to practice is to do it. So
That's right.
I love the conversation.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And yes, Kimberly, I saw your note in the chat. We're going to talk about that braggadocious. That braggadocious is going to have to sit in the corner, I think, a little bit, just a little. You have to kind of just like not worry about it, not worry about her. Oh, which is a really good segue because I have someone I want to introduce you to. So one of the reasons why it's hard for us to advocate for ourselves is because a lot of times there is, people don't like the word or the term imposter syndrome, but if that feels uncomfortable for you, let's talk about your inner voice. Your inner voice and your inner critic. And she is loud. She is loud and she is proud. She's loud and proud. And I like to think about it as, you talk about the elephant in the room. Well, in this case, the elephant is in my head and it's taking up a lot of space and it is making a lot of noise. And she always shows up when I'm about to do something different, something big and bad, or when I'm just like nervous or unsure of what it is that I want to do or want to say. And she gets in the way. Now, there's a lot of power in your inner critic if you name her. Okay, so my inner critic, her name is Beatrice. And look at her. She's not even happy that I'm here today. Okay, she is just kind of like, you have other things. What do you know about it? You and I both know you don't like to speak up. Blah, 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 blah. She's like all this kind of stuff. She's all this yin yang, right? So Beatrice is the elephant in my head. So you may have a name for your own. I've got folks, there are Blanches out there and Ivies and all kind of names. One of my clients named her elephant after her mom. So, but the most important thing is there's power in naming her. Okay. But she's saying things like, don't make it about you, Cheryl. They'll think you're showing off. Wait your turn to speak. Don't speak at all. don't talk about this. You're just bragging. It's going to sound like that. What are people going to think about you? Beatrice is important. Okay. Your elephant, that inner voice, that inner critic, she does not mean any harm. She is trying to protect you. But Beatrice, once you name her, you recognize that she's there, you can talk to her and tell her, just go in a corner and like sip a Starbucks or something, glass of wine, whatever your favorite beverage is, be quiet. It is not realistic to think that that inner voice, that inner critic will disappear. That's not realistic. However, it is very possible if you name her, you recognize it and her when it's happening, then you're able to say, you can get in the back seat. You are not driving. You're no longer driving. And you're going to speak only when spoken to. It takes practice, but acknowledging that she exists is the first step in order to make Beatrice just a little bit quiet. And I mean, she's just, she's a little annoyed right now. As you can see, that's why her hands are folded. It's important, though, for us to think about those false narratives, because that's what's happening. There's false information that our inner voice and our inner critic is giving us because it's nerve-wracking. Kimberly asked it before, how do we do this and not sound braggalicious? That's your elephant talking. So if you tell her to be quiet, you can just refresh and reclaim your own story. So we're going to talk about this for just a hot second. You want to be able to, Tico Tony. I love that, Sunta. So we want to be able to do something about those limiting beliefs. And by the way, if you're wondering what all this has to do with your receipts, it has everything to do with your receipts, because you're not going to articulate to anyone but your family member, your parents, your kids, your dog, whomever. You're not going to be able to get it out to who you need to if Beatrice is in the background telling you that you're bragging. So we have to release and like reclaim our story. And so what that means is those limiting beliefs, recognize them. Recognize them when you see them or when you hear them. And just put them in the parking lot. Just put them in the parking lot best you can. It is not easy. But again, if you're aware, if you have awareness of it, then you can make it happen. Because once you're aware, then you're able to release it and let it go. Release it. You might be afraid, but my husband always says, fear is just false expectations appearing real. If you're afraid, it's okay. It just means that you care, and it just means that you're about to do something that's really important to you. And that can never be a bad thing. So release it. And then replace that old narrative with a new one, like I have here. My contributions deserve recognition. I can advocate for myself with confidence. That is so important. We say it all the time in healthcare, right? You have to advocate for yourself, right? Make sure that you stand up for yourself when it comes to your healthcare. It's the same thing we're talking about here. Yes, thank you, Felicia. Goes back to telling you the truth and honoring yourself in the amazing work you do. Honoring yourself. I absolutely love that. We honor so many things in our lives, but honoring ourselves, that's important. We show up for ourselves and then we can be there and show up for everybody else, that oxygen mask. Other thoughts? Any thoughts, comment? You can come off of mute, please, by all means, do.
Cheryl, I put it in the chat, but you and I have
Oh,
talked
thanks,
about
Wade.
this many times that, a lot of us were conditioned as women growing up to be team players, to not be braggadocious or brag about ourselves. And so we
Yes.
naturally default to speaking about our accomplishments in we, even though you were the main character. You were the one, bringing the teams together. And it's so important because no one knows your work or knows you better than yourself. So advocating for yourself is so important, and just getting comfortable with it. Just changing that pronoun is a start.
Yeah, I love that. And I've got to call you out because you said something during our conversation earlier, Wave, that was so awesome. Because they say there's no I team. No, there's no I in team, but there's an I in interview.
Show up for yourself.
Show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So I want you to for just 1 minute, just take a pen and paper. Hopefully you have one in front of you and just write down one limiting belief that you are willing to release today. Just one. I've got plenty, but we're just talking about one right now. And if you're comfortable enough, if you want to share it or put it in the chat or keep it to yourself, that's completely up to you.
I'll share.
Thanks,
Because I had this
Sharon.
experience just yesterday. And my boss said it to me, and I think it just put a light bulb in my head, because I'm working for a bank. I've been at the bank for about 8 months, almost 9 months now. This is my first time working for a full-fledged regional bank. I've always been in financial services, but this is the first time for a bank. Now, they talk a lot about, oh, in the banking industry, it's this, and the banking industry, it's that. And I've let all of that talk about the banking industry get into my head. So sometimes I'll be in a meeting with the executives and I might hold back because I'm thinking, okay, no, they know better because they have banking experience, and I'm still learning the banking side of things, but I am a very well-trained HR expert, but I still hold back at times because my bosses, especially if she's there, I'll say, I'll let her comment because it's what the bank has done in the past or what. And yesterday I was explaining to her a conversation I had with another executive, and she said, why don't you push back? She's like, you're the expert.
Mm.
And I looked at myself and I said, you know how right she is? And I didn't not push back on him because it was a one-on-one conversation, but the way I did it, I could have been much more just forthright in what my recommendations were, given my expertise.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you really can. That voice could really hold you back in conversations where, you really should take the lead. Yeah, it's a
Absolutely.
real thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for sharing.
Welcome.
Alicia, you said I'm going to embarrass myself.
Yeah, that's like one of those telltale for most things. Like, when I'm in a position where I may be in a meeting or I'm somewhere, and probably half of what's happening is going over my head because they're probably talking about something that I feel like I'm not well versed in it. The first thing I think to myself is, oh my gosh, they're gonna call on me and I'm gonna say something embarrassing. Because either it's gonna be completely off topic, or it's just going to be like, why did she say that? But I know that that is a self-limiting belief because that's never happened. So it's like, well, why would you think this thing is going to happen? But it's the first thing I think is, please don't call on me because I have no idea what you're talking about. And if I open my mouth, they're going to be like, okay. And let's just say, okay, you got this little black girl at the table. She's not know what she's talking about. So that's my, my inner critic.
That's your elephant, Felicia.
Yes. Oh, mine's a pink flamingo. I've already decided. I'm still working on her name. I'm still working on her name.
A pink flamingo. That is very obvious. She's really big.
Yes.
Just let me know if she's wearing a tutu.
I think
So
I'm going to
build
go
one
for a
you.
tutu. I think it's going to be a tutu. Yes, yes.
Okay, I got it. When you get her name, let me know. Let me know. I'm just jotting that down. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing and just for just thinking about it and how it relates to what it is that we're talking about today and how important it is to put that to the side there. All right, so we're gonna do a bit of an exercise here, and I call this exercise How I See It. And basically what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna just move my chat over here to the side so I can see this. You're going to see I think I have about 35 different photographs all on one screen when I click to the next slide. And what I want you to do is I want you to pick 2 photographs. The first photograph, metaphorically, that one I wanted to speak to you. Which photograph speaks to you? How do you feel right now about advocating for yourself? Showing all your receipts, doing the things that we're talking about. And then the second photograph that I want you to pick up is the one that reflects what it would feel like for you to truly, truly embrace this and to truly own your wins. Okay, you can drop your numbers in the chat. And then afterwards, I will ask if anybody wants to share their photo with number and why you picked it. And then we'll move on. You good? Okay, let's go. Let me give you a few minutes. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do that because there are quite a few.
Cheryl, the first one is about how I feel about it, and the second one is
Yeah. So the first one is, how do you feel right now when you think about having to advocate for yourself? What does that feel like? Right? And then the second one is, if you were to do it, if you were to embrace it completely, embody it, what would that feel like? So it's kind of like where you are now, but where you want to be. Okay, you got 15 and 27. Oh, want to be a one, Cinta. Hey, Steph. 1328. I like that. Chat's in a way I can't see what 28 is. Okay. Sharon. 9 and 26. And Leslie, I know you're on a train, so it's hard for you. Wave. Oh, 2, 1, 12, 9. Les. 2 and 1. All right, so wow, this is so interesting because when I look at the patterns here, you got a couple of you are now at a 13, which is like rolling the dice. And there are a few ones in there. So is anyone comfortable sharing your numbers and sharing why, like what's your thought process behind that photo?
My name is Saima. I'm happy to volunteer first.
Hi, Saima.
So looking at all the pictures, they're beautiful, but the ones I was able to connect with for some reason are water related.
Okay.
15, because, and I was thinking about this during our session and what toolbox and what I need to create to feel comfortable advocating for myself. I feel like it's basically taking a leap of faith and jumping and not being afraid.
Love that.
I think also for me to like write down, talk it through, be comfortable with what I want to say and advocating for myself. It's very climatic when you look at 27, where like the waves are crashing, where I've done the action, I went through the process, and it's just kind of a release. Like I did it and I just have to see what happens next.
I love that. I love that. I'm always amazed whenever I do this type of visual exercise, what folks see in the photos. It's just amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Saima.
You're welcome.
Hi, Cheryl.
Yes.
I'd like to share. Can you
Hi,
hear
is
me?
that Les? Oh, yeah, I can
Yep.
hear you. Hi, Les. Hi.
Hi, honey. So I feel like I'm number 2 because I'm on. It looks to me like I'm on a path, and sometimes you want to get off the path, and you're afraid to go right or left. So I kind of stay on an arrow because that's safe. But I would love to be number 1, which is free, changing, not being afraid to change, and just going with the flow.
Love that. I love that. Those butterflies are very freeing, right? Transformational for sure. Thanks, Les. Who wants to go next?
I'll go, Cheryl.
Sharon.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Oh,
I can hear you.
okay. So I went with number 9 for the first picture because I'm in such a amazing place right now in my life, and I'm happy and I love my life and the whole world is in front of me. And this is something I just have to do better to get me to number 26, where like I see her as like she's bigger than the world, and the road and path to follow is there, and it's just to walk down it, and I could take on the whole world.
Wow.
That's
Beautiful.
powerful, Sharon.
That is powerful.
Thank
Look at my
you.
sisters chiming in here. My 2 sisters. Stephanie, I see you off mute there, my friend.
So I chose 13 and 28. And like you said, I feel like where I am now is I'm rolling the dice and probably worried, it's a gamble. You don't know how it will be when you advocate for yourself. You don't know how it will be received. And so I see the flip side as 28 being at peace, where you're not really worried about the outcome. You're not worried about what's on the other side or how it's being received, that you're confident, advocating is just a necessary step. So that's where I feel like I would like to get to, is not worry so much about how things are received, and, still, and don't let that hesitate me from advocating. So that's
Oh my goodness. I love that, Stephanie. I love that. That word peace. You're bringing tears to my eyes just thinking about that, because it's just something that we all want, right?
Mhm.
We just want to be at peace with our thoughts, peace with our decisions, peace with the way that we move, in this world. And so I
And
love
it's
that. Thank
okay
you so much for
if we're
sharing.
disruptive a bit. You know what I mean? I think that's
Yes.
okay. It's not like everything's going to go over smoothly all the time. I think for me, that's my thing. I'm always worried about the other person
Yeah.
at my own consequence, I guess. So that's where I would like to get at peace of it doesn't matter. I'm not intentional being mean, but you know what I mean? It just doesn't matter.
Yep. I understand. Completely understand. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to share how they came up with their photos?
Sure,
Hi,
I'll
Wave.
next. Hi. So this is Waveney. I feel like I'm a number 12. I'm 12 right now. And when I look at that, I think about my years of experience. It's like a field of, some positive experiences, a little bit blurry. And I feel like now I'm trying to really narrow in and zoom into, what's the value and impact of some of those flowers, and really figure out how I can, really give back and share that impact. And so where I want to be is, use those stories, use those impact to really be more connected. I love building my network, but really using those experiences to build relationships with heart. That's my target.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. And your other one was number Waveney, number 9,
Mm-hmm.
heart.
Yes.
I love that. That's you there, my friend. That is definitely you.
I'll share mine. Also, I think
Thank
I'm
you,
the last one.
Felicia.
So I think I had a similar when someone said at 13, I'm throwing the dice. And for me, that is,
Mhm.
my advocacy for myself can go either way. Sometimes I can lean in, and then sometimes I'm a little soft with it, where it's kind of like advocacy, but the person doesn't really see it that way.
Mhm.
And that can sometimes often cause me to be in a place that I don't want to be because I didn't advocate hard enough or make it very explanatory. But 34, that POW is like, you are the person who I'm talking to is very clear. Like she is, she is standing ground for herself, holding space for herself, and I gotta pay attention. So I would love to be at a POW.
Oh, I love that POW too, right? To me, POW is like your power. POW is powerful, right? Just and boom. I love it. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who was comfy sharing. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm always really amazed. And if anyone wants like a copy of their photo as a reminder as to like where you are and where you're going, I'll be happy to share. Actually, I'm going to be Felicia sharing this deck with you so we can send it out to everybody, along with some other things that are going to come along the way. So thank you guys. Thank you for indulging. I hope that was helpful for you to see, to like just reflect on where you are and how you're going to get there. So let's talk about get a little tactical now, on, well, okay, well, then how do you track? How do you track? So in my mind, from my perspective, there's a brag book and there's an impact tracker. And some people like to use one or the other, right? Depending upon your personality, how your brain works, how, boom, 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 you might be versus like, oh, I just need to like think and draw pictures, whatever it is, whatever works for you. My recommendation is do a little bit of both if you can. But at the end of the day, it really is a matter of just what's important to you. So the brag book, it's a live collection of your wins, screenshots, notes, comments, like, if you're getting like compliments from folks, attaboys and kudos, all those things, you can grab them. Some people use like, they have digital vision boards right now. Some people use things like that in order to capture all of their wins. What I love about the brag book is that it is like something you can hold in your hand if you decide to, and you can go back and reflect. Those days for me when Beatrice is having a pool party in my head, I go back to my book. Oh, I brought it here for you guys to see. Okay. I'm a Minnie Mouse fan. So mine says All About Minnie, which really is short for All About Me. And I will go in here and I got like words, I got stuff written down, just trying to do a better job of tracking my receipts. And it just, even just writing it out, journaling is a great practice to help you do that as well. Again, whatever works for you is going to work as long as you're doing something. The impact tracker, that's a bit more organized. That is a document I'm actually going to send everybody, a tracker that you can use. It's a simple Excel spreadsheet, but it helps you to stay focused and use the star. And we're going to talk about star in a minute, but it's a good place for you to think about all of those wins and really organize your stuff for when it comes review time. But my suggestion is that you're doing this all the time. If you have a day where something awesome happened, let's see somebody putting something in the chat. If you have a day where something awesome happened, in the tracker it goes. It's either going in the tracker or the brag book or both. Okay. And so there's nothing like really, there's nothing new here. There's no rocket science to this. It's about being intentional and committing to yourself that you're going to do it. Seema, you said, I have a box with cards people have sent me. Oh, yeah, that is amazing. I love that. I love that. And so, and that's a place that you can go, right? When you're feeling some kind of way. It's just a reminder of the awesome person that you are. Thank you for sharing that. This is really super simple. The hard part is actually putting it into practice. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you. It's my niece. I love it. It's a family affair today. I love it. I love it. But it's just a matter of putting it into practice so that it can be real for you. So it can be real. Questions about these two simple methods for tracking your receipts. Okay, good. Good. So let's go on to STAR, because it's really, really important that if you're tracking, that you're a star. Now, hopefully everyone is familiar with the STAR method. But if you're not, I have it written down here for you. This is a reminder. And it's really interesting because the STAR method, I always think about it, used to think about it as something to do when I'm prepping for an interview. We're going to have a conversation. You know, they're going to ask you for examples. You want to know, you want to be able to talk about the situation, give some context as to what was going on at the time. You want to talk about the task. What was I responsible for? What am I accountable for? Action, what did I actually do? And then the almighty results. What are the results of that particular effort that I made? What is really cool and interesting, though, is that when you are thinking about your receipts, you must do the same thing. You must. So the tracker that I built for you, the impact tracker, has space for you to put each one of those components of STAR, including other things like time and dates and like that kind of stuff. But it's really, really important that you get in the habit of tracking in this way and thinking about what you do in this way, because you'll never miss anything if you think about the S, the T, the A, and the R. It's just a muscle that has to be built. I know, I remember a few years ago, I had a really amazing coach, and she was helping me with my resume. And this is before, I'm dating myself, but this is before LinkedIn profiles was a thing. Going back. But man, she made me for I sat down, I talked to her about all my wins, all these awesome things that I did. And she made me sit down and write out the STAR for every single one of those wins, every single one of those accomplishments. And it ended up being like, it felt like a book, and it was really hard and detailed. But I'm so grateful for that experience I had with her, because you can tell me anything. I could walk into any place. You ask me a question, I was able to articulate exactly what happened, what I was responsible for, what I did about it, and then give you those results at the end. So you can see clearly there was a line drawing from the situation all the way to the results. I have to, I'm going to guess and assume that everybody is familiar with the STAR method. How does it feel to think about it in the way of documenting your own receipts? You can put it in the chat or come off mute if you like to.
I never thought about using my receipts in like a STAR method format, but I actually do like that for several reasons. One, I think it's really important to remember your accomplishments and milestones, whether it's personal or professional. That's how growth happens. That's how people evolve. And then two, I think the other aspect too is the more you do it, the more you feel comfortable talking about it. And it's just very, you can make it very conversational as opposed to like forcing yourself to remember something for an interview which is always the
Yes.
hardest thing to do, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Thank you. I'm glad it resonates. I'm glad it resonates.
This is Stephanie. I think it
Hi, Steph.
with me, I think specifically around the results, because the measurable outcomes is where I struggle, because I'm ready to just dive right in.
Yes.
And even as an organization, our culture is you dive right in. We don't really necessarily pull the data that shows or represents where we are, so that at the end of the project, when we're celebrating the success, we can tie that back to the journey. So then I don't have the measurable. I know what I did and how we got there, but to measure the impact is where I end up, falling short as far as being able to accurately to communicate or advocate for myself when I'm speaking to other people. So I feel like that's where I definitely need to do a better job of, taking a step back and saying, we need to kind of truly capture where we are. And then,
Yes.
so that way, when we're not just for my own interviewing or anything like that, it's just in general, how do we internally, how can I, talk about the impact on the projects that I'm working on?
Yep, absolutely. That's a great point. And sometimes I know with my teams, I would ask them to think about that first.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly right.
Right. Think about that first, and then back your way into it.
Because
know what it is that you're
in
going
the
for.
end, it's too late, because they're at the end, they're moving on to something else. So now you don't
Yep.
really have the data to do the measurable. You just know what you completed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. And in the interest of time, homework, just start with one. Pick one star story that you are comfortable writing out there and then getting ready to share. So it's a lot, right? There's a lot here. So I'm just going to give you just like 5, I'm going to breeze through these really, really fast. Just 5 strategies for how you can use what we're talking about today, how you can use your receipts. We talked about this before, one-on-ones with your manager. Okay, that's really, really important. Start small. Here's what I'm proud of this week. This is what I did this week that I think is really awesome. Can't wait to tell you about and share it. Obviously, your performance reviews, that's the time where everybody's, getting their receipts out and ready to roll. But use the star. Oh my gosh, please use the star when you're documenting for your performance review. Please. Can't tell you how many reviews I've looked at where it's just a laundry list of I did, and it means absolutely nothing, because it's like, well, what did you accomplish? What's the outcome? I need that information in order to advocate for you when the performance review time comes. Advocate for yourself. Definitely during promotions or raise conversations, I love this, frame the story around your future potential. Around your future potential. Show that I've got what it takes to make it happen. And we're not talking about AI today, but if you're struggling figuring out how to take a win and work it into, hey, this is what it looks like for a conversation about a promotion or a raise, go to AI. I call my chat GPT. Her name is Maya, short for my assistant. Go to her or him and let them help you. Resume and LinkedIn updates. We can do a whole nother conversation, Felicia, about resumes and LinkedIn updates, but really, really important that you're able to also translate your wins, not just internally and all the others about the step here, but externally as well. Keep your resume ready and update your LinkedIn profile all along the way, and share. Your personal brand is so important. It's no longer, can't be secret agents, my friends. You have to tell your story out there in the world. It's nerve-wracking, but don't let Beatrice win. Don't let Beatrice win. Quick example here for you, Jasmine. She's a middle, because this is like a lot, right? So I wanted to give you something, and I won't drain this slide for you. You can read it on your own when you get the deck. But I wanted to give you an example of this beautiful Jasmine and she had a great win, right? She reduced turnaround time on client onboarding by 40%. And she was able to take that and she was able to use it in different ways, from all the way from a one-on-one, all the way through a LinkedIn post and to a promotion ask, all with just one win. Just one win. And then what the cool thing is, I know, because I know they're all rock stars on this call, I know that you all have multiple wins. So imagine the power of when you actually like hold on to this and you're able to execute for yourself. I mean, Jasmine's got nothing on you, right? When the time comes. But one win, 5 different ways, same win. Good?
Cheryl, may I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
If you can go back to your last slide,
Yes.
can you define or help me and others understand why it's important to keep your LinkedIn profile alive? Like, what do you mean by that?
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, girl, you asked a real big question. That's I could talk about this all day long.
I'm a deep person.
I love it. I love it. We need to have a conversation. But I'll say that right now in 2025, it's weird. LinkedIn has changed so much just since COVID. Just since COVID. So when if you are, let's say you're just looking for another role, or you are looking for, it doesn't have to be within your outside your organization, it could be inside your organization. When people say your name, the first thing that the person your name is said to, the first thing they do is go to their phone or go to their computer and they go to LinkedIn, because they don't have your resume, right? But if you're like, oh, okay, you need to check out Nicole Hamilton. She is absolutely amazing. Oh, Nicole Hamilton, I'm not familiar with Nicole. Let me go to, there's not much there. Okay, well, I guess she's okay. So being able to establish who you are, what you believe, your point of view, what you've done, where you're going, why you want to get there, all of that comes down to your LinkedIn profile. And LinkedIn, it's interesting, stats, there are over 1 billion people. 1 billion people on LinkedIn. Only 1 to 2% engage, reacting, commenting, sharing, posting. However, LinkedIn is the 23rd most visited site in the world. So my husband's a realtor, right? So he says when people come and they're just looking, they call them looky-loos, right? So there are a lot of LinkedIn looky-loos out there. Most of them are. 1 billion people, 1 billion. So you want to be able to show up as your absolute best, because you don't know who is looking at you inside the organization and outside. And by the way, your organization has its own profile, right? So you want your profile to reflect who you are and not who the organization is that you represent. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I hear you, Cinta. Did I help?
Yes, that was very helpful. I appreciate it. So you want people, it's important for any of us in general to build our personal brand through various different avenues, whether it's our resume, LinkedIn profile, one-on-one meetings, engaging with leadership, things like that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot, right? And
Yes.
that's the reason why I love the name of this organization I'm representing today, The Climb, because it is a climb. It is a climb, but it's good for your legs, right? Right? Exercise is good. So, but it does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of work. All right. So last but not least, before we wrap it up, say it to the mirror. If you cannot say to yourself what makes you awesome, if you can't share your receipts looking yourself straight in the mirror, how are you going to say it to somebody else? How are you going to say it to your boss? How are you going to say it on LinkedIn or put it in a resume? How are you going to advocate for yourself if you can't say it to yourself? I talk to myself in the mirror all the time. All the time. I also talk to my doggie, Bella, as well. She's always positive reinforcement, always. Big, fluffy, black Newfoundland. But it's really, really important that you do that. I'm not going to make you do it today, but it's homework. Promise me that you will stare yourself in the mirror and speak your truth. It is really important. Even if you start off by just saying, I am so proud of myself today because I, situation, task, action, result. And even if it's that you pump gas, I don't pump gas, so I'm just using that as an example. But when I do, it's like a thing, right? So even if I pump gas, I'm proud of myself for doing that, right? So do that for yourself, practice it, and then it will help you to get so much better. And then practice it on all the, the people in your life you care about as well. Talk to them. Just get used to talking to the people in your life about your day, what you did, what you accomplished. Celebrate your wins. Keep track of them. It'll help. Okay, so we're just slightly over, so I'm just going to wrap this up really, really quickly here. Just remember that your work matters, you matter. Okay, keep your receipts, write down what you achieve, regulate, detail, star. Speak your wins, like we just talked about, and give Beatrice, or whatever Felicia's going to name her, pink flamingo, whatever it is, that inner voice of yours, that inner critic, you still don't know. Whatever it is, by all means, please, please give her a rest. And you step forward and claim your voice. Cool? Okay. So before I turn it back over to Felicia to close, I have this thing. I love to write. I love writing. I love poetry. And I'm finding myself, whenever I get done with a talk like this or experience like this, I'm always inspired to write something. And so I wrote a poem for you guys. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share it. And then if you want a copy of it, I'll just add it to the toolkit that is going to have all this other stuff in there for you. So it's called Don't Call It a Brag by me. Okay. Don't call it a brag when I finally say it out loud. Call it a return to the place I buried myself just to keep the peace. Call it a remembering of the girl who used to shine so freely, dream so boldly before the world taught her that quiet was safer. I didn't gather these receipts to prove I'm enough. I gathered them to remind myself that I always was, even when no one said so. This is not performance. This is proof. Proof that I carried the work, held the team, and brought light to places that never gave me credit for the spark. Call it a record of every win that slipped by unnoticed. Every moment I held it down without falling apart. Every impact I made while learning to stay soft. Don't call it self-promotion. Call it self-respect. Call it truth-telling. Call it a deep breath after years and years of holding it in. Because now, when I speak my value, it's not ego. It's clarity. It's care. It's me finally seeing myself clearly and choosing not to shrink. I don't need to be louder. I just need to be heard. And today, I am. Thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate being here with you. And Felicia, I'll turn it over to you, and I'm also available for any questions that you may have.
So you're
thoughts.
absolutely going to include that poem in your in your toolkit, and I'll give you all the email addresses. I mean, I want to give that to so many people. That poem is so powerful. It's It's a poem and it feels like an affirmation. So thank you so much for that. That is beautiful. I can't wait till you send it out. Any questions?
Thank
Anybody
you.
have any follow on? I decided that my pink flamingo, I'm just gonna name her Pinky. That came to me.
Oh, Pinky. Okay.
So
I got
Pinky,
you.
she is gonna have on tutu, but she's also gonna wear heels because in my mind she's like super sassy, which is why she tries to keep me in line.
I got you.
Any questions from
Thanks,
anyone?
Felicia. Oh, you're welcome, Wave. And thank you, Nicole.
If there isn't any other questions, again, thank you so much. This was so much more than I could have expected. We didn't just talk about writing it down, but really the mindset associated with us getting ready to and our ability to be able to become receipts ready. Because to your point that, as I think about the way your workshop, in the order in which it went, like the mindset has to be right first before we can ever start the tracker. Like you said,
That's
you
right.
can have it down on paper, but if it's on paper and it's, your mind's not there, you're never going to be able to advocate for yourself. So thank you so much for sharing that. For everyone who was here, thank you so much for joining us in the boardroom for the climb. If you want to learn more about the climb, you can go to the-climb.org. Membership into our organization is free. And so if you're still in your career and you're still climbing and you enjoy community like this, where we were able to come together and fill our cups up, this is what the climb is about. So please go to the-climb.com to learn more about our organization. But until next time, keep climbing and keep striving, and we'll see you again later.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye. Have a good night.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Wonderful job.
Night, Stephanie. Thank you. See you tomorrow, Stephanie.
Bring that poem.
Yes, ma'am. Oh.
Great job, girl.
Thanks, Cher. I'll call you in a little bit.
Amazing job.
Feedback.
Yeah.